The limiting beliefs we have been fed as unchangeable truths have not only fueled what the United States Surgeon General has called an epidemic of loneliness and isolation, but they have shaped who we are as individuals and as a society. These beliefs are carefully constructed lies that are so extensively woven into the fabric of our daily lives that we look past their damaging effects, believing they are beneficial to our well-being. Joanie Marx's extensive 15-year research into where these beliefs come from ultimately led her to go beyond labeling them as limiting beliefs. She calls them the 7 myths of love and happiness. What exactly are these myths? And what do they have to do with an epidemic of loneliness and isolation? You're about to find out in episode 3 of Finding True Love After 50, your roadmap to winning the battle against loneliness.
Hi, I'm Joanie Marx. I'm a 3-time international best-selling author and the creator of 3 acclaimed online courses for Udemy.com. And before that, with only $20 and a ball of string, I started a multi-million-dollar consumer product company. I've also enjoyed 3 decades in Hollywood as a character actor, brand spokeswoman, and independent producer. Like millions of others, I too have felt the pain of loneliness, none more so than after the death of my husband, Joe. How did I overcome this? By learning to love myself unconditionally. This 8-part mini-series is based on my new book, Finding True Love After 50. Together, they are the culmination of all I've learned about creating your ultimate dream life after 50 through the power of true love. In this exciting and eye-opening episode, you're going to learn what are the 7 myths of love and happiness. And to get it started, I want to share with you my experiences with these myths and where it all began. Well, the short story for that is I opened a door to a restaurant for a lunch with 2 of my longtime friends, one of whom was my college sorority sister. Now a widow, my sorority sister lamented that she was feeling lonely and isolated. She accepted she would never find a new mate because she did not look young enough, did not have a facelift, did not feel she had enough money to attract a new quality relationship. Mind you, this was coming from a bright, educated, and pretty woman. How could my dear friend think of herself like that? How could someone who was greatly admired see herself as a discarded and isolated old woman? As a collective generation, how could we have created an environment that leaves its women and men feeling lonely and dismissing their value based on their age, physical looks, or the size of their bank account? This was something I could not stand by and accept. I first started researching the 7 myths of love and happiness nearly 15 years ago. So, after the luncheon and the restaurant door closed behind me, in my head there was this huge distress bell going off. I couldn't get over how upset I was by what had happened. And so what happened next was something I never would have expected. For I changed completely. How I changed was all about what was the answers to how could I help my friend. And out of that, I've created books and materials that have positively changed and helped millions of people. Without a clue as to where my rising anger with all of this would take me, leaving the luncheon that day, I vowed to do battle against the lies and the myths that so deeply affected my friends. My research into these issues would lead me to develop and launch a national baby boomer advocacy campaign. I called it Drive Through, Make It Your Own, and it was anchored by my new character, McGrandy. From there, I kept researching and sharing my discoveries on podcasts and radio and television shows. All of this has led me into writing 4 best-selling books, 3 acclaimed online courses, a thriving YouTube channel, and now this mini-series, which is based on my new book, Finding True Love After 50. Now that I have shared my experience with the myths, I want to help you explore what exactly are the 7 myths of love and happiness.
The 7 myths of love and happiness, beginning with myth number 1, the myth of scarcity. This myth tells you there is not enough love, happiness, and success to go around. Number 2, the myth of self-worth convinces you that your worth and value are based on how others see you. Number 3, the myth of love tells a false story that love exists outside of you and is limited, scarce, and elusive. Number 4, the myth of Prince Charming represents anything you chase after outside of you to fill an inner void of wholeness. Number 5, the myth of aging. This myth establishes and reinforces a limiting belief that aging is a disease and must be avoided at all costs. Myth number 6, the myth of physical beauty. This myth influences us through unrealistic images portrayed in the media that suggest to be loved, admired, and desired, you must be perceived as physically beautiful. And the 7th myth, the myth of shame and blame. This myth is the strict guardian of all of these myths. It is the weapon of self-loathing used to criticize your choices and discredit your true, authentic self.
Now that you have some familiarity with the 7 myths of love and happiness, I want you now to look at the role that these myths play in the age of loneliness.
On some level, all of us have spent considerable time and resources battling the damage the 7 myths of love and happiness inflict upon us. There is also a good chance you did not refer to your life challenges as being mythical in nature. Why is that? Because when we suffer the effects of loneliness and isolation, such as feeling depressed and unloved, the pain is all too real. The reasons these are myths is because they frame a false reality that appears to be real. This reality is upheld by your beliefs, thoughts, and perceptions of life, such as your sense of feeling that you are not enough. Therefore, the experiences and emotional effects of these myths are real, but what makes them a myth is how they get us to believe we cannot change our reality or undo the effects of the myths themselves. As a result, most people accept the basic framework of life, including their reasons for why they feel lonely or unloved, as being unchangeable. This is where a false reality is created, thanks to the influence of the 7 myths. In this false reality, the myths trick you into seeing beneficial solutions to finding true love and happiness in all the wrong places. This disconnects you from your true authentic self, setting the stage for emotional and physical trauma through bouts of loneliness and isolation. To change this, you will want to stop seeing life as an outside-in experience when it is the other way around.
In my new book, Finding True Love After 50, I share numerous examples of these 7 myths, especially as it relates to how to break free from them. For this episode, I'm now going to guide you through the number 1 thing you can do to overcome the effects of these myths.
The number 1 way to overcome the dangerous effects of the 7 myths of love and happiness is to be consciously aware of them. Without taking them seriously, these myths and the beliefs that support them will keep you locked in a painful loop of repetitive behaviors and recurring circumstances that leave you in emotional turmoil. At first glance, it's true, the 7 myths of love and happiness may not appear to be much, but make no mistake about their power and influence in all areas of modern-day life. As a central element of cultural and ideological truths, these 7 myths are passed down to each generation as guideposts for finding true love, happiness, and security in life outside of you. Believing what you need and want is not within you is where you lose sight of your power to create your reality as you desire. In whatever ways you want to feel better about yourself, The 7 myths of love and happiness ensure that nothing worthwhile can be found within you. When you start seeking love and happiness outside of you, the odds of you falling into the hazardous trap of loneliness and isolation are significantly increased. Therefore, the first step in loving yourself and using your innate power to win the battle against loneliness and isolation is becoming aware of how and where these myths get you to give away your power to outside influences.
To help you integrate what you're learning today, I want to guide you through 5 essential steps to free yourself from the effects of the 7 myths of love and happiness. Become aware of how the 7 myths influence you in your daily thoughts, behaviors, and choices in life. Listen less to your inner critic and trust more of your true, authentic self. Replace limiting beliefs with new, more empowering beliefs. Journaling helps in this. Develop daily practices of self-love and self-care. Seek professional guidance to assist you in healing the effects of emotional trauma. Can true love exist in the age of loneliness? Yes, it can. I am living proof that by loving more of yourself, you can create your best life after 50. This 8-part series and my new book are my invitations to you to open your heart and allow true love to show you the path to where the life of your dreams lives.
In episode 4, this 8-part mini-series based on Joanie Marx's new book, Finding True Love After 50, you will discover how to undo the effects of loneliness and isolation by observing your thoughts and learning to connect with your true, authentic self. As we age, none of us want to feel lonely or isolated from others. Unfortunately, navigating life changes after 50 and confidently accessing true love is not something most of us were raised on or taught how to do. In the pages of her 4th best-selling book, Joanie Marx delivers life-altering benefits and timely insights on important topics such as creating self-love practices, developing healthy self-esteem, releasing limiting beliefs, rehabilitating your inner critic, setting healthy boundaries, being playful and laughing more often, and visualizing your dreams into reality. This is a unique book that helps you integrate what you are learning into your daily life with invigorating step-by-step processes and thought-provoking journal prompts. How can Joanie Marx help you overcome loneliness and live your best life after 50? By ordering Joanie's new book, Finding True Love After 50, subscribing to Joanie's popular YouTube channel, enrolling in Joanie's acclaimed online courses at udemy.com, and subscribing to Joanie's podcast, Finding True Love After 50, on all major podcast platforms. If you host or produce a podcast, arrange an engaging interview with Joanie by emailing her today at joanie@joaniemarx.com.